guys, hope you're all doing well. So I am here today filming 3 tutorials using one palette, and this is the KVD Saint and Sinner palette. It's beautiful. If you haven't checked out my mini review and swatches on this, I will have that link down below. I uploaded that a couple days ago, so go check that out first if you want to see my thoughts on this guy. But today we are doing 3 tutorials using just this palette. I didn't use any eyeshadows from any other palettes. I just used this palette right here. Yeah, if you want to see my 3 tutorials using just this palette, then keep on watching. So I think for my first look today, I'm going to be using some of the warm red shades and orange shades in the palette because I'm very excited about this bottom shade right here. And then I'm also going to be using like this orange, maybe the pink up here. I'm just going to play around with some of the red today and see what happens. So to start off the look, I'm just going to be priming my eyes with a little bit of Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. And then to set that, I'm going to be using the shade Amen from the palette. It's just a really nice all over matte color. Yeah, I'm really happy with this color because it is pretty much the perfect brow bone setting shade for me, and I'm really excited to have that in the palette. So next up, I'm using the shade Devil, which is this beautiful orange color right here, and I'm going to be running that through my crease. Yeah, and this shade applies beautifully. Like, I have no complaints about it. It's a really beautiful orange shade. Very pigmented and blends out really nicely. So I think the next shade I'm going to be using is this red one right here, and this is called Stigmata. And I'm putting that pretty much over like the outer half of the lid because I think I'm going to do a half cut crease. So I think to deepen up the outer corner, I'm going to be using this dark brown shade right here, which is called Crucifix, and I'm just going to be packing that on the outer corner of the eye. So then I'm just going to be taking a little bit of Tarte Shape Tape, and I'm going to be doing a half cut crease. So just starting on the inner corner and going to about halfway on the lid. And then right away before that Tarte Shape Tape dries, I'm going to be using the exact same brush, and I'm going to be using the shade at the very top of the palette, which is called Rapture. It's so stunning. I think this has got to be one of my absolute favorite colors of eyeshadow. Anyways, I'm just going to be packing that on top of the concealer. This is definitely a more glittery shade, so I think you would want to use like Fix Plus to spray your brush with, or use your finger with the shade. So I'm just going to be using my finger to try to pack a little bit more pigment on there. I don't think this shade performs quite as well as I thought it would, but it is still a really beautiful shade. And because we lost some of that darker red, I'm just going to be using that on my finger as well and patting that right beside it. And then for the lower lash line, I want something that's a little bit pinker, so I'm going to be using this shade right here, and this is called Rosary. So I think that's my eye look finished. I'm going to throw on a pair of fake lashes and some mascara, and then I'll be right back and we'll do some lipstick. So for the lips, I have 2 options, and these are both by Black Moon Cosmetics, and these are from their new autumn collection. They came out with a little autumn trio, and I have shade Cider and Hazel that I'm trying to decide between, and I'm so torn. So I'm probably just going to sit here for the next 5 minutes trying to decide which of these to use. One's a yellow and one is an olive color, so I think I'm going to go with Hazel, which is the olive green color. I am still so torn though. I don't know, guys. I think they both would have looked cool, but alrighty, so there is the lipstick with the look. I think it looks alright. I don't know if it was the right choice for this look, but that's okay. I think it looks pretty cool anyways. But yeah, so this is the first look using the Saint and Sinner palette. Alrighty, so for the second look, I think I'm going to be using more of the cool tone shades. So I'm going to use the silvers because I think they're really beautiful in this palette. So I might use Heaven, Cathedral, and I might use a little bit of this duochrome teal shade right here, which is called Vestament. I'm not sure what other shades I'm going to use. I'll probably use some of the black, this brow bone shade right here, and then we'll just see from there. But yeah, let's just get started. So I'm going to be starting out with this color right here, and I'm just going to be using that all over my eye to set my base. So there isn't really like a light cool brown in this palette. There's some nice warm transition shades right here. But I think for today's crease, I'm going to be using this dark brown, and I'm just going to use it lightly in the crease. So I think that actually turned out pretty decent, and I just made sure to use a really, really fluffy brush while I was blending it out so that I didn't get too like harsh of a dark to positive color. It actually blended out pretty nice to be like a nice transition, cool transition shade. And I'm also just going to be using that same shade and packing it on the outer corner, but I want the outer corner to be darker, so I'm going to use a smaller brush to pack it on with. So I'm just going back in with that brow bone shade that I used first, just to make sure that the brow bone is nice and highlighted and that that crease shade didn't go up too far. Just kind of cleaning it up a little bit. Alright, so now I'm just going to be cleaning up my lid with the Tarte Shape Tape again. So again, just doing a half cut crease. And I'm going to be using the silvers on the lid where I put the concealer. Alright, so for my lid where I've just highlighted, first I'm going to be using Heaven, and this is going to go right on the inner corner. Then I'm going to use the shade Cathedral in the center of the lid, and then I'm going to fade that right into this duochrome shade right here. So then for the lower lash line, I'm going to be using the same duochrome shade on the majority of the under eye. And then I'm going to use the lime green just for a little pop of color right here. And then for the inner corner, I'm just going to use more of this shimmery silver shade right here. Alrighty, so I'm pretty happy with how that eyeshadow turned out, so I'm just going to go ahead and put on some mascara and lashes, and I'll be right back. Okay, cool. So now onto the lips. I thought sticking with this cool toned theme that I have going on, I would use Requiem by Kat Von D. It's like a nice cool tone, pinky, light pinky purple. So I'm going to go ahead and use that on my lips. Alright, so this is the completed look number 2. So it's more of a cool toned look using the palette. And yeah, let's just get started with look number 3. Alrighty, so for this look I wanted to do something a little bit more colorful, so I actually practiced this eye first, just so I knew what I was doing for this tutorial. So we're gonna get started on this eye. So the first color I used was this lime green shade right here, and I'm going to be popping that on my inner corners. And I'm just using a really fluffy brush so I can get a nice distribution of this color. And I'm bringing it to about the halfway point on my crease. So the next shade I'm going to be using is this one right here. This is called Martyr, and I'm going to be using that on the other half of my crease. And I'm slightly pulling that out a little bit because we're doing a tiny bit of a wing shadow today. Then for the outer corner of the eye, I'm going to be using the purple shade on the bottom, and this is called Exorcism. And because we're blending purple and yellow together, you just want to be really, really careful and make sure you don't have too much on your brush while you're doing this. So I just have a paper towel here that I always swirl my brushes on to make sure I don't have too much product on my brush. And then just really take your time going back and forth, and then if you need to add more yellow, you can after blending everything out. So then for the lid colors, I'm going to be mixing a few together. So I used this gold down here in the inner corner. Then I used this purple right here on the middle of the eye to help blend the gold into the purple we have on the outer corner. And then over the top, I used a little bit of this glittery shade right here just to add a little bit more glitter. Alright, so now getting started on the lower lash line, I'm using this beautiful blue shade right here. This has got to be one of the best shadows in the palette, so I'm just going to be smudging that on my lower lash line. And then to finish off the inner corner, I'm using this shade right here called Heaven, just to add a little pop of highlight on the inner corner. Alright, so to finish off the look, I have Kat Von D Wolf lipstick. So I'm going to be applying this. I thought the gray tones would kind of tie in with the dark blue lower lash line. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and put this on my lips. Alrighty, so this is the completed third look. It's a little more edgy, I would say, than the other two looks, which were a bit more wearable. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing 3 looks using just the Kat Von D Saint and Sinner palette. I will be hopefully doing this type of a video more often. I'm thinking of getting the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette. So if you want to see 3 looks using that palette, then just let me know down below. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed and you have a really good day. Bye!